The acid rains of Narith came early that season, hissing against the bone towers of the capital like a chorus of ghosts. Inside the grand hall, beneath banners of flayed hides, Princess Serenia knelt on the cold obsidian floor. Her crown, a jagged circlet of black glass, lay shattered before her. Around her, the noble houses of the Zir Dominion watched with reptilian stillness, their gold-laced armor gleaming in the sickly green light. "Traitor!" hissed Lord Varesh, his long tongue tasting the air. "Blood of the throne, yet you sheltered the human insurgents. Your father's mercy rotted your spine. We will correct that mistake." Serenia did not lower her eyes, though every instinct screamed at her to. She had expected exile, perhaps even execution. But not the spectacle they had made of her. The hall echoed with cruel laughter as the decree was read. She was to be stripped of all titles, severed from the royal gene seal, and cast into the wastes. To the nobles, the wastes were not merely barren. They were alive with predators, machines gone feral, and the infamous iron beasts, monstrous human warlords encased in scavenged armor and steel. Her cloak was torn from her shoulders. The gene seal at the base of her skull was burned away, filling the hall with the smell of scorched flesh. Serenia refused to cry out, not here, not in front of them. Two guards, their insectoid limbs clacking against the floor, seized her arms and dragged her through the palace gates. Outside, the skies wept acid, burning holes through the silk of her gown. The streets emptied as she passed. No citizen would risk being seen aiding the disgraced princess. By the time the gates closed behind her, the capital was a black silhouette in the storm. Ahead lay the wastes, a jagged expanse of rusted metal dunes, bone forests, and shattered war machines. The wind carried the distant roar of something huge moving across the sands. Her stomach clenched. The noble's parting words echoed in her skull. "If the iron beasts don't tear you apart, the storms will." She tightened the scrap of cloak still clinging to her shoulders and stepped into the storm. Somewhere out there, she would find shelter, or she would find death. But Serenia swore that if the wastes wanted her life, they would have to fight for it. The storm lasted for 2 days. Serenia staggered through dunes of corroded metal and half-buried war machines, her skin blistered from acid rain and her lips split from thirst. By the third night, she was half delirious, stumbling toward the flicker of firelight on the horizon. It was not a campfire. It was a burning carcass of a war beast, its plating warped from plasma strikes. Around it, shadowed figures picked through the remains. Serenia crouched low, but the wind betrayed her, carrying her scent across the sands. A voice, deep and unfiltered, cut through the storm. "Come out. If you run, I'll find you anyway." From the shadows stepped a giant, easily a head taller than any noble warrior she had ever seen. His armor was patchwork steel, bolted and welded from the wreckage of alien war machines. A jagged mask hid most of his face, but his eyes burned with a human fire that no alien could mimic. The stories had called them iron beasts, savage monsters driven mad by exile. But this one moved with the control of a predator. When Serenia tried to speak, her voice cracked. "I have no weapon." "Then you are prey," he said, closing the distance in 3 strides. She expected a killing blow. Instead, he caught her by the arm, steadying her when her knees buckled. Beneath the armor, his grip was warm, alive. "What's your name?" "Serenia," she whispered. His gaze sharpened, as though testing the weight of it. "I am Kael." He glanced at the acid scoring her. "Gown, you won't last another day out here." She swallowed hard. "Then keep me alive." Kael tilted his head. "And why would I do that?" Serenia's mind raced. She had nothing to trade, no wealth, no armies. But she still had one thing the nobles feared most, the power to unite the humans scattered across the wastes. If she tied herself to Kael, she could give him a banner to rally under. "Make me your bride," she said, her voice trembling but unbroken. "I will stand beside you, and your enemies will become mine." Kael's eyes narrowed. "Once bound, Serenia, there is no running from me." "I'm not running," she said. "Not anymore." In the silence that followed, the storm howled like a warning. Kael finally released her arm, only to drape a heavy, oil-scented cloak across her shoulders. "Then you stay," he said. Kael's stronghold was a fortress grown from the bones of dead war machines. Massive plates of scavenged armor jutted from the sand like the ribs of some titanic beast, forming walls that could shrug off plasma fire. Inside, the air smelled of oil, scorched metal, and the faint smoke of cook fires. The humans here, Kael's people, watched Serenia with suspicion. Some had bionic limbs, others wore masks to hide the burns and scars the nobles had left on them. She met their stares without flinching, though her silk gown, tattered and acid-scorched, made her look like a relic from a world they hated. Kael led her to the command deck, a hollowed-out cockpit from a war titan, now serving as a throne room of sorts. Maps carved into scrap metal covered the walls, showing every valley, ridge, and raider den in the wastes. "Your enemies will come for you," Kael said, stripping the plating from his arm to reveal the human flesh beneath. "They will not stop until you are ash in the sand." "They are your enemies too," Serenia replied. "The nobles sent me here to die. I would rather kill them first." Kael eyed her as if weighing steel in his hands. Then he nodded once. "You will fight beside me, but you will not hide behind my men. You will earn your place." Training began the next day. Serenia's delicate court hands blistered under the weight of scavenged rifles and crude melee weapons. Kael taught her how to strike low to unbalance an armored foe, how to keep moving when plasma bolts burned the air around her. Every failure was met with the same growled command: "Again." The siege came sooner than expected. Scouts returned with news of a noble war host. 30 soldiers in gilded armor, armed with rifles that could cut through the stronghold's plating. As night fell, the desert shimmered with the glow of their approach. Kael stood beside her on the wall, the wind tugging at his tattered cloak. "This is your first battle, Serenia. When the gate falls, you stay with me. You bleed with me." The first plasma blast rocked the fortress, tearing a molten wound in the wall. Serenia gripped her weapon tighter, heart pounding not with fear, but with the savage, unshakable need to survive. "Let them come," she said through gritted teeth. Kael's grin was feral. "They already have." The walls shook under the pounding of the nobles' siege cannons. Shards of molten steel hissed as they struck the sand, burning pits into the ground. Inside the fortress, the humans moved like a single living machine, reloading rifles, dragging barricades into place, checking the edges on scavenged blades. Serenia stood at Kael's side on the battlements, the acid-worn rifle heavy in her hands. She could see them now, the gilded soldiers of House Varesh, their armor reflecting the fire of their own plasma blasts. At the center of their formation lumbered a war beast, a 4-legged monstrosity plated in black chrome, its eyes glowing like molten coals. "That one is mine," Kael growled, nodding too. "Onward the beast. The soldiers are yours." The gate exploded inward, a spray of shrapnel and fire. The nobles surged forward, rifles spitting lines of blue light. Kael leapt from the wall into the chaos, his plasma axe cleaving through the first rank like paper. Serenia followed, ducking under a wild blade, driving her rifle butt into the throat of a soldier before pulling the trigger point blank. The air was a blur of screams, plasma bolts, and the crack of steel. The war beast roared, crushing a section of the fortress wall under its weight. Kael met it head-on, hacking at its leg joints until sparks cascaded like waterfalls of fire. Serenia fought like a woman possessed. Every noble face became a memory of humiliation, every kill a piece of her old life burning away. She was no longer the discarded princess in silk. She was a storm wrapped in rust and blood. The battle turned when Kael ripped the war beast's heart engine from its chest, tossing it into the sand where it burned like a dying sun. The nobles hesitated, their formation breaking. Serenia seized the moment, rallying the rebels with a single savage cry: "Take their crowns!" The remaining soldiers fell under the weight of human fury. By dawn, the fortress was littered with the bodies of gilded corpses, their armor stripped to melt into new weapons. Breathing hard, Kael found Serenia in the blood-stained sand. "You fought like my equal," he said. "I am your equal," she replied, her voice steady. "And your bride." Kael's laugh was low, dangerous. "Then let them tell stories of the day the nobles learned fear." In the rising sun, the two of them stood among the wreckage, a human warlord, and the woman who had become his queen of blood and steel.